Okay, so today we're going to be working on our Angular CLI app. We're working in ASP.NET on the Web API, writing in C#, and we're going to be using SignalR for the data transfer layer. So we have two hubs that we're going to be building, one for chat and one for music requests. And then additionally, we need to scaffold out our entities and create our view models and scaffold out the project. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing that I want to do is create my entities. So when I do that, I'm actually going to reorganize this project now, and I'm going to make a new folder in here, and this is called clients, and then a new folder in here called domain, and then another folder in here called modules. And inside of modules, I want to add a new project, hold on, and then I want to move both of these into clients. Now we need to open up my file explorer here, and we're going to make the modifications in the folder structures here as well. So these are clients, and we'll move these into it. Okay, and then we have a domain and a modules. Okay, now we'll add these back. And it's a backend clients. And then also the, hey there, Fallen Hope, how are you doing? Want to play some Hungry Zombies? I got the game going. There we go. That should start it. All right. And then if you ever want to check what your total zombie flowers, the seeds that you've collected, you can just do it like that. There we go. Let's see what happens. Cool, so that's working as well. So now in the domain project, I need to add a new project here called a class library, and we're going to make a new one called opendjradio.domain.lib. And then I need to make another one here called inside a domain opendjradio.domain.codefirst. And in codefirst, I want to add a new folder here called, no, I don't need to do that. I need to add a new class called application DB context. And in this one, I want to inherit this from DB context. And actually, I don't need to do this because I can already pull it out of here. And then if I look at this one, application DB context, this needs to be in .domain.codefirst. And we'll add our reference. And also our globals. Okay. We need to create our entities now. So we're going to do that in lib. So we'll make a new folder, create it called entities, make a new entity here. We already have message and user. Let me get rid of those. Change this to be whatever the namespace is supposed to be. And the first thing that I need to have is a user, right? And a user is someone who is an account holder. So they've been registered with the identity server. So they're going to have a username and an ID associated with them. And then they're going to be an application user. So I'm going to go ahead and add this class in here as a new application user. Okay, we're going to make a new class called base entity, which you should already have that. I guess we've been lazy. So now I need to make a new class here called base entity. And it needs to have on it a public, which is a nothing. And it's going to be a prop GUID ID equals GUID.new GUID. Nope, not that. And this one is a key, and it's database generated option dot identity. Okay, we also need to give it a timestamp, which will be a prop date time timestamp equals date time dot UTC now. Okay. I wonder what this word is. And now in base entity, I need to make this abstract, and then my application user will inherit it like that. And in this, I'm going to have a unique identifier, which is a string, the username, the integer for the song pool count songs max. So the maximum number of songs that it can have in the queue, which will be 100 for this one. And then a song pool count max. Just a second. Because these are expandable. So let me add in a comment here and say that song pool count max. I don't think I'm using this at the moment. So let me just comment this out. This is the number of song pools that a user has. This is the number of song pools the user has. It should be purchasable. And then here I want to do this is the number of songs that are allowed in each song pool. It should be purchasable. Default starting value is 30 songs. Default starting value is one song pool. Okay. And now in this application user, each user is going to have a room, and then you're going to be able to join other rooms. And I think it should be either one room per user that then you could join, or it would be a collection of rooms. I think it should only be one room. which means I can get rid of this. Okay, and then we need to add in here the room. And in a room, we want to say that it has a room code. Which is a room code, which should be a string. That'll be the identifier for the room which can be chosen by the user. And then we also want to have a option here, which is a bool, which is room public. And then we want to have a bool here, which is called is room online. And then I want to have a GUID here, which is my application user ID, because I'm going to link it to my application user. And we want to say that this is required. Now I don't think I need this GUID because it's a new GUID called ID, which is a key, and it's database generated with the option of none. And application user should have one room. Okay. The next thing is we want to have a list of rooms that this user is in. So that means I want to make let me think here for a second. Well, I want to make it so that any number of these users can join any number of rooms. So we need to have a new class for that called a application user room, which is going to be a public application user room as type base, it's inheriting from base entity. And then I want to add in here a GUID for my application user ID and my GUID for my room ID. And that's a application user and a room. The short ones are hard. Okay, that's why you get more turns for the short ones. So this thing needs to have a collection of rooms of collection of application user room called application users rooms equals a new list of application user room. And then we also want to have this the other direction on room, which is like this. Okay, the next thing that we need here is on my application user, we want to say that they can have a collection here of message called messages. And a message here will have a application user and a application user ID. Pardon me. So I have a difficulty index in the game. So if this is too hard of a word, I can lower the difficulty index. Two more guesses. Okay. So on your message, this is going to be messages that are passed into and out of the chat. So this should be called a message chat. That's it. We're going to go ahead and add in here a table name for this called messages. And my schema will be open DJ radio. Actually, yeah, that's fine. And we want to add this one here to this as a application users, as a applications users rooms, rooms user doesn't exist, but one user should have now a collection of messages. Hey there, Topata21, welcome back. Trying to figure out what this word is. It might be too hard because I am not sure at all what it is. Oh, I think I know what it is. I think it's maker. So messages, chat. We should change this to be called a chat message. And then this can be a chat messages. Okay. Like that. And so now the next thing is we need to have a playlist, right? So inside of a room, it should have a, well, the room should have a queue. So we need to make a song queued. So let me first make a song. And a song should be a public class song, which is a base entity. Oh, the word was baker. Meh, 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 meh. You want to play again? Let me know when you want to play it again. I can get it started. It runs on WebAPI to start the game. Songs. And in this, we need to have a couple of things. The string for the song name. The YouTube ID for it. The int for the song length in seconds. That's important because everything needs to sync across the pipe. So when you connect to someone's channel, you need to start the YouTube video at the same spot as the host. Okay, the next thing that we need is a song request. And when I look at this should be abstract. And on it, I want to have a GUID for my song ID, and then a GUID for a song. And then a song here needs to have a collection of these song requests. Okay. The next thing that you need to do is have a song request needs to have, okay, so the reason why we've added song request as a base class is because there's going to be two different kinds of song requests. The first one is a song request that a user puts in through the chat with search terms, and the second one is one that comes off of a playlist. So what we actually need to have now is a playlist. And on this, it should be a public class playlist, which is a base entity. And we should have a string here called the playlist name. And then the next one is I want to have a default selected, so a bool is selected, because you can only have if the playlist is currently selected, there can only be one selected playlist at a time. Okay. And then we also need to have in here the application user. Get your votes in for Hungry Hungry Zombies. Okay, and now this needs to have a number of playlists. Like that. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have these things. User room, chat message, playlist, needs to have a playlists, rooms, songs, song request is abstract. So now we need to have a list of songs on the playlist. And that should be a type of song request. So I'm going to add in here a new class called a song playlist. And on this, it needs to inherit from base entity. And we want to say something here which is an integer to do a play count. Which is a counter. This is a counter to track the number of times an individual song has been played in the playlist. This is to make sure that all songs are played before repeating. Okay? Come on, guys, you gotta get your votes in. Okay, the next thing is that this needs to have a, since this is inheriting from a song request, it now has a song attached to it, and I need to add here a GUID for the playlist ID. And then also a playlist for the playlist. And this needs to have a collection of song playlist called songs playlist. Okay. And this needs to be called songs playlists. The other type of song is a requested song. So we want to add in here a queued song, right? And that's one that somebody has either voted on or is coming from a playlist. So we need to add in a new class here called a song queue. In this one, we should have that same table here for songs queued. And this should be a public class called from inheriting from song request. And in this, it needs to have a user which it's attached to. And then it also needs to have a room ID for the room that it's attached to. And what I mean by that is the person who queued the song, they queued it in a room. Okay? Now we're going to do a hello prop int weighted value. And this is the value currently assigned to the song based on incoming and outgoing transactions. Weighted current value. Okay. Makes me think I should have something like a queue. But I think in application user, I can do it instead like this and do a, oh, it's in the room. I can add in the song request called songs requests. Now that's not correct because it's not because a playlist could be playing where it's counting, or your room would have a number of these songs queued. Yeah, it's a song queue. Because this is song queued instead of song request because if there isn't a song in the queue, a record will be created for one for the song request in the playlist. Okay. Okay, the next thing that you need to have is we need to have currencies in here, right? And that's going to be something that's assigned by the admin or owner. And then we need to have something in here called the transactions for each one of these. And that should pretty much wrap up our entities on the back end. So we need a class in here called transaction. And in this, we need to songs playlists, songs queued. This is actually the table name is songs requests. And then this one will not have it, and this one won't have it. And it'll all be inside of songs requests. So now the transaction here, we need to say a transaction could be something that you're gaining. This could be gaining currency for being in a room, or this could be using currency to request slash upgrade slash downgrade, upvote, downvote songs. So we want to say that this is a base entity, and this is in table transactions. And we're going to say that it has a transaction type called transaction type. And we'll add in a new folder called enums and a new class called enums. And I'll get rid of this and say public enum called transaction type. And for this, I want it to be we have a request, we have a song request, we have an upvote, we have a downvote, we have a polling currency, and then we have a currency polling, and then we have a currency awarded. Okay. We also want this to be a new integer called quantity change. And then this transaction needs to be connected to an application user room. So we need to have a prompt I collection here of transaction called transactions. And this needs to have a GUID to my application user room ID and a application user room called application user room. All right. Now, we need to have another one, which is a transaction song request. And in this one, no, it's a transaction song queued. Because we want this to have a type of transaction. Because we want this to have a song queued called song queued. This is what the transaction is on, and we want to have a GUID for the song queued ID. Okay. So the next thing is we need to have a currency. So currency and currency is controlled by the product owner and can be earned by existing in channels over time or purchased. And we also want to say can do specials / group event awards. And on this I want to say that this is a base entity. And on currency, we want to have a string for my currency name. I want to have an int for the weight of the currency. So that way I can have multiple types. I want to have a quantity increase per tick. I want to have a integer, or let's say this is a float for my time in seconds between tick. Let's do that as an int. And then we want to have a date time, which is my timestamp last updated. And that's equal to datetime.utc now. And then I want this to be connected to a room, so it's going to be a GUID for the room ID. And then that's all we need for here. So we need to add in currencies into a room. Okay. And then also, I now need to have a application user room currency for the currencies gained in a room. So we'll have this as a public base entity. Like that. And in this, we want to say that this individual will have an integer for the quantity of currency that they have. And then we need to give it a GUID here for my application user room ID. And then another one for the GUID for the currency ID. So a currency needs to have a list of these. Like that. And then also, we want to say that a currency has a list of these. I'm sorry, we did that. We want to say that the application user room has a list of these currencies. Okay. So the only thing left here is to track the connections to a user room. So to do that, I'm going to add a new class in here called application user room connection. And in this, I'm going to say it's a public, and we'll say base entity. This is a application users rooms connections. We're going to have a couple of different things. I'll have a string here for my connection ID, and this is assigned from signal R. And then we want to have a bool, which is a is online. We want to have another bool, which is has the ping been sent. And then I want to have a GUID here for my application user room ID and the application user room application user room. And this, we need to have the connections. Okay. So now when I step through this, let me make sure everything's good here. We're missing the queued songs here. So we also need to have a song queued, which is called a songs queued, which has an application user on it. Okay. The next one is the room. I don't have transactions here. So let me move this out because this actually needs to go on a application user room currency like that. So that's good. Connection should be good. Okay, we have application user room currency, which has the transactions on it and the quantity. We have my currency. That looks good. We have a playlist. That looks good. We have a room. Song queued, currency, application user room, and application user. A chat message needs to be owned to an application user and a room. Or is it an application user room? So this thing needs to be an I collection here of chat message called chat messages. Like that. Hey there, iFost Pro. There's no contest running at the moment, but if you want to play some Hungry Zombies, I can start it out. So that looks right. In songs queued, messages has not anything here because you have this is the room owner. And that's my chat messages per user room. Perfect. That should also have my currencies on it. Okay. When I look at this one, that's good. When I look at this one, that looks good. When I look at the currency, that looks good. When I look at chat messages, this needs to be an application user room. That's good. When I look at song, that's fine. When I look at song playlist, that's fine. When I look at songs queued, I need to have a collection here of my transaction songs queued called transactions songs song queued equals a new list of transaction song queued. Which is a song queued and a transaction, which is an application user room. So that looks right for the binding. Okay, we have a song request, which is just a song. We have a transaction, which is transaction type quantity changed in a room. And then we have this one, which looks right. So let's go ahead and make sure that we have all the table names in here. Application users rooms, connections, currencies, chat messages, currencies, playlists, rooms, songs, song requests, and transactions. Okay, so that should be good. I should be able to now build this. So I'm missing use SQL Server. So let me see, that's NuGet use SQL Server missing. Let's just install this package on application DB context, which is in code first, and it's a install package that. Fixed it, okay? So now I should be able to build my database. So let's check to see how that's working. When I look at my FreeNAS, give me just a second. I have to put a password in. All right. Let me make sure that I have the right database up. And also let me make sure that my connection strings are correct. Just 1 second. Okay, that's fixed. And now we can create the database. So we'll do a add migration init. And we want to use this one as my startup project. What I can do, where did my notepad go? Is we can try to create our database. Now I want to make sure that everything is set up correctly in here. So if I look at my models again under entities, the only one that was different was this application user should have a number of rooms, and in rooms it should have a number of these chat messages, which is joined correctly. Okay, we want this to be OpenDJ Radio. I've also added in here a currency and then a currency per room, and that's the only modification I made off stream. Song playlist doesn't exist. Song queued doesn't exist. This is song requests. Transaction. And then this one doesn't matter. Good morning, Doppio. How are you doing today? I'm working on Angular CLI. We have a project called OpenDJ Radio, and I'm setting up the backend in ASP.NET right now. So now I think we're ready to run our migration. So when I look at this, I want to do a add migration, and we'll call it a net. Okay, now it says that my connection string property cannot be null. So give me just a second here to look at why that happened. If I look at program startup, this is getting a connection string from here. We don't want that. We want this to be from equals new paths DJ radio, and it's going to be I don't think you need anything for that. We can get rid of this one and then this one. You do need to have a pass. Like that for these. And then we can get rid of this. Okay. We're good to go here. Let's go ahead and give it another run. And now we'll do an update database. And I have a feeling it's going to tell me that I have some properties that aren't set correctly. So rooms on application user rooms may cause multiple cascades. So we need to look at, and I'm going to get rid of the init and the snapshot and the migrations folder. And underneath data, we need to set our properties. So I can do that in here. And so for this one, we want to say builder.entity room. It's going to have many application user rooms. And it's only going to have one room associated with that. And we want to say that my onDelete will be restricted. Okay, we're going to try this again. And update it. Okay, we got another one here on song requests. So for this one, it's going to be builder.entity, and it's the base class, which is called song request. It's going to has many Now it's not, it's a song queued. Because it's failing on the, it's going to only have one application user with many queued songs. And we want to say onDelete restrict. And we'll run update database again. Okay, we have another one here for room, which is that builder.entity.room has many song requests with only one room. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, we're also going to need to have one on my transactions. So that's a builder.entity for my transaction song queued. And that's going to have one song queued with many transactions. And the only other one that I need to add in here is currency, which is the new entity. And that's going to be has many application room currencies with only one currency. Is there anybody out there today? Okay, let's go ahead and delete my migration here. And now we can check my FreeNAS, because, well, just a second while I adjust my connection string. Just need to make sure I put it in the right database. Okay. And now, I think I'm running this one in production, right? Yeah, you are. We want to change this to be my dev connection string. Okay. So now we can do another add migration in it. And we can do the update database. Interesting. Give me just a second then to modify this thing back to be the production connection string. We'll run it again. Okay, that looks good. If I look at the entities here for application user, we want to make sure that this is a unique index, and then I want this to be playlist count, and I want this to be my song pool count max. We'll change that to be 30. Okay, so now that that's done, we've created our database.